You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm and Jupiter. A world-class experience. Visit BremenBMW.com. And by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Welcome to your Friday. What's up? I am Kevin. I got Ricky Bobby up in here.
Yep.
Got Diener as well.
Hey.
Gonna be hanging with you. Got a lot of stuff coming up today, including Miami Hurricane coach Mark Richt's going to be joining us here in the Numero Dos segment today. Going to be talking about the Cane Spring game. Going to be going on tomorrow at Hard Rock Stadium. Going to find out some of the stuff that is going on with the program and how close he thinks they are to winning a national championship. Also coming up here today, going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders getting hit with a big old lawsuit.
We should have
that.
Yeah, they were here too. Huh, interesting.
I was just saying, it's like, thank God we got him in before, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also going to be talking a little bit about the NFL today and who the Dolphins are bringing in. We're going to come up to that in just a second. They've got some big-name prospects that are going to be in their headquarters. One yesterday, one today. But the big story breaking today from the NFL, Cowboys released three-time Pro Bowler Dez Bryant.
This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal because, you know, teams that are looking for a wide receiver are going to be, oh, great. So how long before they announce that he's heading to the Patriots?
See,
don't do that.
first reaction, is that your first, when you heard this news, because this broke and we're like, oh, wow, that's a pretty big story. Mm-hmm. First reaction when you hear it, where do you think he's going? The first team that pops in your head when you heard that today?
The Patriots.
Is it the Patriots?
It was the Patriots.
Really?
First one for me because, you know, they've made some cuts at their wide receiver, and that's the big question I've had. Okay, well, what are the Patriots going to do? Because they always seem to pull something out of their rear and make it happen, and there was nothing on the radar that I could foresee happening. They've got a lot of quality picks coming up in the draft, but you know, this is not a big wide receiver heavy draft, so they're not going to solve their problems there. So I'm like, there's got to be something in a cut, a free agency, whatever. And what do you know? Voila. And I'm like, oh, there's the Patriots answer.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but why does everybody always have to go to the Patriots?
Because they want to catch balls from Tom Brady. That's why.
I bet a lot of people do.
But here's the question, and the only thing, when you really start breaking down Dez Bryant's numbers, the big question is, yes, you got a three-time Pro Bowler, a household name, but do you want this guy? Do you want him? Now, his cap hit this season was set to be $16.5 million. That's the second highest among wide receivers behind only Mike Evans. But if you look at his production over the last couple of years, since 2015, Dez Bryant, he's made $300,000 per reception. That's the most in the NFL.
That's pretty insane. For
the productivity you're getting for this cat,
wow,
you're paying him more than anybody else. He also caught 49.7% of the balls targeted to him. That's the worst in the NFL.
Really?
That is the worst in the NFL, over 200 attempts, yes. And Dez Bryant is it.
So is he on a downturn here? Like, is the team that he decides to go to, should people be wary of Dez Bryant right now, or are they suckers if they pay this guy too much?
That means you're suggesting that the Cowboys are smart.
I guess so.
They have proven to not really be when it comes to stuff.
Maybe
like
this was smart.
We had this conversation about the Patriots just about a week or so ago, saying the one thing the Patriots seem to do is they get rid of people at the right time.
Right? Yeah, they're amazing
they're
at it.
Ahead
that
of the game.
and drafting.
Yeah, right. So are they going to go and then pick something? And when they do pick things off the scrap heap, they do seem to work out for them. I think Randy Moss was a pretty good pickup.
Yeah,
back in the
perfect
day.
example.
Yeah.
But are you looking at Dez Bryant being another version of Randy Moss? Does he still have in the tank what it was? Is he even close to the same player that Randy Moss was when he came in and did so great with Tom Brady?
Well, I think it depends on the system. If he goes into a system like that, then yeah, probably. There's some quarterbacks that are, some teams that are products of the system. So I mean, if he goes into a good system, then he could be anything he wants to be.
Well, who has his quarterback been since 2015? Pretty much in there. He's been getting balls thrown to him by Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah. Prescott and Romo.
Okay, if you got to say who's going to be better at throwing the ball to Dez Bryant, is it going to be Dak Prescott or is it going to be Tom Brady?
It's Brady.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's Brady.
Is there
easy.
any chance some of these numbers that I've thrown at you has more to do with Dak Prescott than it has to do with Dez Bryant?
Well, here's the other thing, too. You know, we make the Randy Moss comparison, which I think is the best example you can make when we're talking about the Patriots. Randy Moss was always better than Dez Bryant, though. And that's where I think the Patriots have to be careful. In Dez Bryant's best years, he wasn't as good as Randy Moss.
Yeah.
So, Randy Moss is a Hall of Famer. The question is, will Dez Bryant be a Hall of Famer? We don't know that answer yet. Yeah. We knew that for Randy Moss 8 years into his career. This guy is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it might be a little bit tricky for the Patriots is
they'd have to pit him up with another really good receiver.
Yeah.
Which they only have a slot receiver in Julian Edelman and then Gronk.
Yeah.
For now.
Well, I know. Yeah. What I'm saying, like, if they were to get him now, that would be who would you put him up? Who would you put him on the other side with? That's the thing.
Who do you think the Patriots are going to go with if they don't go with Dez Bryant? I mean, but is that a panicked kind of mood if they pick up Dez Bryant?
I don't think it's a panic kind of move.
I think
if they don't do it, I don't think they're panicked at all either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they don't, this is how this whole thing is going to work. If it seems like the Patriots are interested in it, everybody will be interested in Dez. If they don't even bother, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be like, well, if Bill won't do it, then we won't.
Probably watching, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they've done this so many times. I mean, look at LeGarrette Blount. Released from his team, walked off the field, came back in, boom, Super Bowl champion.
So if you're Dez Bryant, maybe the best thing to happen for you right now is the rumors to start being floated out there that the Patriots are looking at you, and then everybody else comes knocking.
Yeah, maybe tell, hey, part ways with Jerry Jones, say, hey, might as well, give him a call over there and say, hey, we might be interested in and just boost up his stock.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Another big wide receiver story going on today. Former Dolphins wide receiver Jarvis Landry got his deal with the Browns. 5-year, $75.5 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. I mean, here's what he was looking at this year, being franchise tag with the Dolphins. He was going to do a 1-year, $16 million deal. This breaks down the 5-year deal, $15.1 million a year. But then you've got the
longevity.
Yeah.
But was there ever a discussed deal for him for the Dolphins?
That's the kind of number he was looking for with the Dolphins, was like around 15, 16 million a year, and they were just like, there's no way.
They're going to throw the one at him, and that was it. He wants a little bit more time on it.
I just didn't understand. It's like, if that's the most productive wide receiver in the entire NFL, and you're not willing to give it to him, that makes no sense.
That was my argument from the start.
Well, with everything you talk about with these players, and that's just it. You can't buy into some of the hype. Sometimes we hear these names so often, and in our own minds, we're elevating these players over what their worth is. You got to keep in mind, everybody in the front office, they've got a value on productivity to how much they're paying. And so there's a value on these players that they look at that we don't see the same way. Like, for instance, even just with Jarvis Landry, of the receivers who currently are the 9 highest paid in the NFL, Landry's career yards per catch of 10.1 would be by far the lowest in the group. Not even close. I mean, you're talking Antonio Brown, 13.5, Mike Evans, 14.8.
We're talking yard averages right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, in fact, the low, Dez Bryant's at 14. Even when you're talking about yards average, you got it at 14, and you've got Jarvis Landry at 10.1. So now he does have a good amount of catches. They're just shorter, and maybe it's just the kind of routes that are going on here. But
this is what you have to look at, though. Do you want, I mean, this may sound like a stupid question, but do you want yards or do you want receptions? What do you think is valued more for a wide receiver, yards or receptions?
Well,
it's I guess
it sounds like a really stupid question, right?
Well, it depends upon, could it depend upon what position you're playing and what your purpose is on the team? I mean, sometimes
No, I don't think it has anything to do with any of that. I'm saying that it's either yards or reception. So if you're looking at somebody like Antonio Brown who gets a bunch of yards, a bunch of touchdowns, it's fine. But look at Jarvis Landry. Every time he gets a reception, that's more time that the defense is on the field. That's more time that your defense is not on the field, and more time for them to be able to not be able to come up with a play because now you're running down the clock. As long as you don't run out. But if you drop the ball, obviously the clock stops. But if he's constantly getting receptions, and he's the most in the NFL last year, so all that time of receptions, regardless if it was 3 yards or 15 yards, you're still keeping your defense off the field and their defense on the field to be able to weather them through the entire game. I think that is more. I think that's more valuable than the amount of yards he gets.
Yeah, I think there's a story that goes with every stat too.
Not true.
That you got to look at.
Yeah, I mean with Landry, I think you hit it on the head actually, which is. That's the system the Dolphins were running. You have to remember who is that quarterback for the Miami Dolphins when Jarvis Landry is playing. They're throwing 8-yard outs to the guy. They're throwing 7-yard slants. It's all quick, short stuff. So it's a little subjective there when you compare the stats. But like you said, he did lead the league in catches. And when he wasn't leading the league in catches, he was always toward the top.
Yeah.
They were just short receptions.
Yeah, he's one of the most productive wide receivers in the NFL and probably one of the most productive wide receivers the Dolphins have ever had.
Yeah.
O.J. McDuffie.
What I'm saying, like in the group.
I just had to throw O.J. McDuffie's name out there.
No secret that the Dolphins would like to get a quarterback in this draft. I think the big question is, when do they get it? Do they have a chance of getting any of the top quarterbacks that are on the board right now? Now, the Browns, they own the 1st and 4th picks. Giants, number 2 pick. Jets, number 3. Broncos, 5. Bills, 12 and 22. And Cardinals, 15. All those clubs are looking to pick up a quarterback. And the ones that are ahead of the Dolphins, you've got the Browns, Giants, Jets, Broncos. So you likely have 4 off the board before the Dolphins, unless they trade up and they don't have a lot to give.
No, not really.
No. So what are they looking at? Now, they brought in Baker Mayfield yesterday. Coming in today, you've got Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen. They are allowed to bring in 30 draft prospects to the team's facility. So they're in doing the interview process, but is either one of those guys going to be available? It's not looking like it, right? So you're looking at the Dolphins probably 2nd, 3rd round trying to pick up a quarterback then.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how much a team up there would value that 11th pick and then picks in the future. It's not going to be much.
It really all comes down to, I know we're going to be talking a lot more draft as we go on here the next couple of weeks, but it really comes down also to what the Giants end up doing. I mean, there are people who are saying they're going to take Chubb at that 2nd pick since they got rid of JPP, or they might take one of the quarterbacks. No one really knows where the Giants going to go there. If they go Chubb, all of a sudden, right, one of those quarterbacks is available. And maybe the Jets end up taking Saquon Barkley. And that could really change everything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 2 quarterbacks
I doubt that's
going to
happen, but I think the Giants are probably the biggest wild card in the
all these clubs are going to favor a quarterback over a running back, right?
You would think so, but I mean, with
all those clubs need quarterbacks.
Whoever that coach was that says he would get kicked in the nuts to get Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
If it was the Jets, they might take him.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Dolphins need a quarterback sooner rather than later. Tannehill missed 20 games the previous 2 seasons. So that is a ton. Coming up here next, what's going on with them Miami Hurricanes, man? Everybody was saying the U is back, and then they played Pitt. So
don't remind
me. What is going to be happening in the spring game tomorrow at Hard Rock Stadium? We got head coach Mark Richt on with us next.
Yep, he's here too. It's Kevin's Other Show, right here on 640 The Hurricane.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Secret original there, Tigner.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
I don't even know if that's an official Miami
I had to do it.
Hurricane song or not. Yeah. Well, you got the Miami Hurricane spring game going to be coming up on Saturday. A lot of people very excited about this upcoming season. Hard Rock Stadium kickoff going to be at 6 o'clock. And we have got the head ball coach of the Miami Hurricanes on with us right now. Hello, Coach Richt.
How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Fantastic. You ready for another year of this?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready. And
Always.
by the way, just so we know, I want the fans to know the parking lot's open at 3, so you can tailgate.
Oh.
The parking's free. And the stadium, we'll let you in the stadium at 5 o'clock for a 6 o'clock kickoff. So if people want to come early and tailgate, the parking lot opens at 3, and then we'll let you in the stadium at 5. So there's plenty of time to go there early and enjoy a beautiful day of tailgating.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
I love the promotion of the tailgating. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he starts right off with that.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, let's get this out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, tell me, Coach, as we get ready for the 2018 season here, for you and this team and what you're going to be looking at on Saturday, what would you say is the number one question you have about this team from what you learned at the end of last season?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us, especially offensively and really defensively, is what's going on the line of scrimmage. We're going to have a new lineup on offense. We're going to find out, can Navon Donaldson play right tackle instead of right guard? Can Jahair Jones go ahead and play left guard when he hasn't played a lot for us, but he's a very talented guy and he's coming a long way. And we got left tackle, Tyree St. Louis, who, Tyree was a right tackle last year. We got Tyler Gauthier as a center. We know what he can do. Right guard, Hayden Mahoney, nail down that spot. So, what's going to happen on that offensive line? And then defensive line, we got some household names, our guys becoming that, Joe Jackson and Garvin, Jonathan Garvin on the edges. People are already starting to hear about some of the other young guys that we got rolling in there. But interior defensive line is a big question for us. Gerald Willis is coming back. didn't play last year, but he'll play his senior year, and he's the one who's kind of the solid guy that we know, and Pat Bethel, but there's not a lot of depth there, so you can't just play one D line. You got to sub and see if we can get some other younger guys get ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a 2018 version of the turnover chain ready to go, or are we keeping it one gimmick overall per side of the ball?
It's not a gimmick, number one. It's definitely a real thing. And, it became famous because we had 31 turnovers. You know, if we got 5 turnovers, we might probably would have gotten made fun of. Mm-hmm. Anybody who made fun of us this year, just, they were jealous they didn't think of it. So
that's right.
That's how we look at it anyway. So, no, I mean, the turnover chain is great when you get turnovers. It's not very great if you don't. But in this particular spring game, we will bring the turnover chain just in case there is one or many turnovers. We'll award that.
Talking to Miami Hurricane coach Mark Richt, looking back last year and so often every week, especially after the Notre Dame win and the fashion in which you won, everybody wanted to throw the label up there, which I know you've heard a lot of, that the U is back. To me, I think the U is back when the U wins national titles. And what do you feel might be a missing ingredient for your program to get into the college football final this year?
Well, even a year ago, if we won our championship game, we'd have been in. So we were one game away in reality, but reality also is we weren't very close to winning that game. So we got a ways to go. But I think if we play the schedule that we're going to play, opening with LSU at LSU and playing our ACC schedule, and if we get into the championship game and win it, I think there's a good chance to be in the playoffs. So, and to say, what defines whether the program's back or not, I think if we're, in everybody's mind is a nationally, promising team that could be, it is right there at the verge of being in the playoffs or getting to the playoffs and obviously winning a national championship, I'd say, that program is back up and running.
How satisfied are you with where recruiting has been, and do you believe that the classes you're bringing in gives you enough in-house talent to win that national championship?
No, we feel good about our recruiting. Everybody wants to rate players and rate classes and things of that nature. What we're doing is we're studying our film, just like Greg Rousseau. Everybody says he's a 3-star. Well, Greg Rousseau, if you're going to put stars on a guy, he's a 4 or 5-star player. There's no question in our minds. The guy's 6'6", 6'7", can run, change the direction, and he's going to provide a lot of pressure off the edge throughout his career and probably block a few punts and everything else. The guy's, we think an excellent player. He's already gained 25 pounds since he's been here in January.
Shoot.
And he's going to, I think eventually, he's going to be something really special. Even Jonathan Garvin was one of our best defensive players as a freshman last year as a defensive end, another 3-star guy. I mean, so we don't worry too much about the stars. We worry about the potential of this guy. Does he have the length? Does he have the speed? Is he smart? Is he a good person? Is he the kind of guy we want on our program? And that's what we're recruiting, and we're getting plenty of those guys, which will help us become champions again.
Talking to Miami Hurricane coach Mark Richt here. Your indoor practice facility is looking great. I know you guys just gave a tour of that. It's supposed to be ready by the fall camp in August. What recruiting advantage does that give you when it comes to bringing in students and saying, hey, look, you're going to be in here in some of the best facilities now?
Right. Well, I guess it's more of when we didn't have it and everybody else had one was, something that you had to answer the question, and now we won't have to answer the question. The other thing is, we know we're one of the last and really the last ACC or SEC school to build one, and being last sometimes has an advantage when you see other indoor facilities around America and see what they could have or should have done better. Then when you build it, it really truly can be the finest in America. And it also just tells these recruits that we are going to do everything within our power to be a first-class operation and be able to develop you in every way possible, and having the ability to not cancel a practice because of lightning is just, one of those steps.
Yeah, Dabo Sweeney in Dabo World at Clemson, he's got indoor slides. Do you see maybe putting in a Ferris wheel or a bounce house or anything like that, Coach Rick?
Well, we got the beaches.
That works.
We got a lot of things to do, So we have some things that no one can match, and now in facility-wise, with the indoor coming into play, and our entire football operation is going to be brand new as well, as a part of this project. And then also, we've got dormitories that are about to be built, and they're already on the docket. They're pouring the foundation for them. $155 million project. That's another thing that was a ding on our program that won't exist. It'll be, as beautiful as a housing complex of a campus anywhere in America. So all those things, even our stadium, $500 million poured into Hard Rock. It's one of the coolest places to play in America. So, all the things that people used to give us a hard time about, they just can't do it anymore.
Talking with Mark Richt here, one of the things that people really want to come see, and the big question a lot of people have, is your quarterback position, as always. How close is it? Do you have a definite number one? Is it too early? And
no,
what do you
Malik's
see
number one. Unless somebody beats him out, he's gonna be the guy. He's had a good spring.
Tell me about Kosi so far. What you've seen out of him. What do you guys like?
He's getting better. He's getting better at knowing what to do. And he has a very good skill set as a passer. He's very athletic. He can run. He's a guy who's still not 100% sure on everything. I think he knows all of our plays. He knows what we do. But when you now have to match up against the defense and certain looks that you'll get and certain things that a quarterback has to do to maybe change the play or the protection to help us get into the best play possible, he's still feeling his way through that a little bit. 100 times better than a year ago, but he's still learning.
Spring games are fun because there always seems to be this player that you don't necessarily know yet that wows you. Who is the player you're most looking forward to seeing on Saturday?
Yeah, I really don't know who's going to make those plays, but we, like on the edges, we got some young receivers that are going to be playing, Wiggins and Hightower, and then we got a couple corners, Gilbert Frierson, DJ Ivey. That'll be an interesting matchup just to see. Both of those groups are tall, they're athletic, they're rangy, they got ball skills on both sides. It'll be interesting to see how those guys match up.
Well, the lots are going to open up at 3 p.m. Coach Richt is going to be out there working a barbecue grill.
That's right.
Amen.
Apparently.
Flipping the burgers.
Yep, he's going to be out there, so you tell him how you want it. Are you a hamburger guy or hot dog guy, Coach Richt?
Well, if it's a tailgate, I'd prefer a cheeseburger, but if I'm at my house and I got the right ingredients, I got something I call hot dog delight.
Oh,
what is that?
Which is pretty awesome. I'd probably go for that.
Hot dog
I'd love to
delight.
get that recipe.
we got to know what that is now. I mean, you can't just tell us hot dog delight
for it, but
all right, we got to come back on with us to give us the recipe.
Yeah, I mean it's. We'll save that for another show. Let people dream about it.
Can't wait to have you back. It's going to be an exciting season, exciting Saturday. Make sure you get out to Hard Rock Stadium. Thank you very much for joining us, Coach Mark Richt.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, #Kevin's Other Show.
Seemed close, right? Thought for sure Kaepernick was going to wind up with Seahawks. I mean, hey, even their coach is saying, hey, this guy is a starter in the NFL. He's got the
Technically,
skills.
yeah, he was.
He's got the skills. Is his political beliefs and the statement he makes enough to keep him out of the league? That seems to be the statement that has been answered. Now, not that the door is completely shut on this deal. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like at least the Colin Kaepernick workout with the Seahawks has been postponed. But it just sounds like as they were asking the question saying, are you going to be kneeling again? And it seems like more NFL teams are swinging to the point of making the statement saying there's going to be no kneeling.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. We understand the statement that you want to make. This is not how we're going to make it because you are turning off too many fans. And ultimately, money matters more to us than your social statements. And we pay you not to come here and make political statements. We pay you to run a ball. If you want to make the statements, make it on your own time, not on the field and not during the national anthem, which just a lot of people they're finding out can't get over. Ratings are down. Attendance is down. You could cite many different reasons why, but I think almost everybody is saying at least a part of that is probably because of the anthem protests.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a part of it is just, regardless if it's anthem protest or if it's kneeling to pray after a touchdown or if it's antics off the field that people are paying attention to while you're on the field, it's a distraction.
Well,
regardless of what it is.
Yeah, but not only is it a distraction, it's a distraction that became almost a viral sensation.
Well, yeah.
And that once more players started to kneel, and then what played into what the president said during the season, that made more guys kneel. I mean, we remember what happened.
Well, I mean, he's a fire starter. That's why.
I should have played fire starter coming back. But it's what made people tune out of the NFL in droves this year. And it's bad for business, man. It's plain and simple. You can have your beliefs. You can protest. Just don't protest like that because it's bad for business, and no one will sign you. No one's going to sign you, Kaepernick, if you keep doing what you're doing. No one's telling you not to believe it. They're just saying protest in a different way. Why do you have to protest that one specific way?
You can't do that, though, because your right to protest is there. Now, the discussion is, if you came into this job and you said, I'm going to sit in this chair, but I am not going to talk in protest, you'd probably get fired.
Yes, because I'm being stupid. And that's what he's doing, is he's being stupid. He's hurting himself. I understand where I've never had a problem with him protesting. I don't have a problem with anybody protesting. If that's what you believe,
well, it sounds like you have a problem with it. Well, no,
but,
I'm just saying.
No, I really don't. The problem here is, my problem with him at this point and what's happening is everybody's reaction. They're not seeing the big picture. They're thinking he's just being blackballed, and they say it's racism and this and that, and it's not. It's business. It's hurting the business, and it's going to hurt the team who signs him if he continues to kneel. And he's just got to be smarter and realize, look, I'm not going to stop protesting, guys, but I won't kneel during the national anthem. Just do something else.
That's kind of the opposite of protest, don't you think?
No,
you can do
something else
to stir.
Still make your point.
And that seems to be the compromise that a lot of proactive NL franchises are trying to do, saying, we believe in your social statement.
Right.
We want to help
you. The NFL themselves donated a lot of money to those causes. It's not like they don't.
Well, and that
they get it.
I think when they say we're trying to make this compromise and we want to make actual efforts in stopping the social injustice that upsets you. So we will do that, but you are crushing our bottom line by kneeling. And so because this is a business, let's try to get a win-win situation here, because when we're going your way, Kaepernick, unfortunately, you might be the only one that's winning. And we feel like we're losing. And what you will bring to us in terms of possible wins is not going to offset the loss we're going to take as a franchise, dollars and cents. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they're a business. And I think that's what it speaks to. And is it underlying racism? Is it whatever it is? I don't know. But I do know that America, or at least enough of American football fans, have spoken saying they don't like what they deem to be a disrespect to the American anthem.
And the flag, and veterans, and people that go overseas and fight for our country.
And they're blinded by it. They can't see another way on it.
Well, that's how it's being perceived. Whether or not you believe that's the case, that's everybody's opinion. But the fact of the matter is, perception is reality. When we all know that. Whether or not that's fair, that's just the way it is. And
I've said
this. No, of course not. And I've said this from day one when he first started this, in that he's just doing it the wrong way. Because how many people talk about police brutality? That's why he was protesting to begin with. No one's talking about that. All they ever talked about with him was he's disrespecting the flag and veterans. his complete message got totally lost.
Well, that
and
was
I
like
don't know why he doesn't see that.
But it was like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Remember whenever he was doing the Ice Bucket Challenge? Like, it was for ALS. How many people remember that it was actually for ALS? Or was it just the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, at a point in time, they did raise a lot of money, by the way, for ALS.
It was. So it was effective because that was the goal. I mean, branding ALS was the secondary, and that wasn't as effective, but they did raise a ton of money.
They did raise a lot of money. But so then you take this and you apply it to this. There's a lot of NFL players that kneeled that still have jobs. Remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago?
And I think the reason is because they're saying we're not going to kneel anymore. Because it seems like as they're re-signing players, they're saying, hey, look, you've kneeled in the past. Is this going to be something you're going to do in the future? And I think that's affecting whether or not they're going to re-sign them.
I mean, there's a possibility. But it's just like I think that if you're going to look at Colin Kaepernick, I mean, he has done a lot for the African-American community since he's been out of football. He really has.
I think he has.
He has done a lot.
All the off-the-field work he's done.
But when you go onto a football field for practice in socks that have pigs with police hats on them,
it's a bad look.
Now I don't trust what you're doing. And when you say that I'm not voting in protest, let me ask you a question.
Again, makes no
what
sense.
did Martin Luther King fight for? Your rights, like your right to vote. You want to protest? Vote. That's a protest.
Yeah.
Vote against the person that you don't like. Why is kneeling always the ultimate protest? Why is standing in front of a building?
That's it.
Why is wearing pink woo-hoo hats? Why is that the protest? Why don't you just get in the damn voting booth? You know, this past election, 20,000 people went into the voting booth and wrote Harambe. They wrote Harambe on there. That is not a protest. But this is exactly what everybody looks at. They look at the kneeling as the protest. No, the guy, he has good intention, but there is some stuff about him that weirds me out, and I will never back him for that. I don't agree with the way he protests because I love my country, and I would never disrespect the people that fight for that right to give me that opportunity to protest. That's where I think he's wrong. But it's not just the kneeling. It's the pig socks. It's the no voting. It's the constantly making everything the Hugo Chavez T-shirt during the press conference.
He contradicts himself.
That's the thing. It's like, how can anybody trust you?
Right.
That's what I don't understand about it.
And you feel like when it's brought up that this is a racial issue against Colin Kaepernick, kind of a witch hunt, those are the details that are left out when it's brought up.
Of course, because it's only about him bringing awareness to police brutality, which I understand, and it is an issue to a point. But that is not everything that he stands for, and he's proven that time and time again by calling police pigs. That is not how you solve anything. Martin Luther King Jr. did not do that.
If he says, hey, now I'm going to stand for the anthem and everything else, does he look like he's a sellout, though? I mean, keep in mind, he's built up to a lot of people.
I think he's done. I don't think he has a chance of making this back.
He might be done because the people that are off the field in his corner supporting him would probably turn against him if he then went for the career. And so he really, if you're looking in Colin Kaepernick's mind, he's probably like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, because one of these two groups is going to turn on me. Either the NFL is going to turn on me and I'm never going to be a quarterback again, or the people socially who are going to spend more of my life with me because I may play how many more years in the NFL. I think ultimately Colin Kaepernick does not get back in the league, and he will stand his ground and say, forever I will kneel.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's really, I think, his only option, because he will be outed on either side. Right? That's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it just depends on his how important is football to Colin Kaepernick. Which thing is more important to him? That's all.
Yeah.
There was something that happened last night in an NBA game for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Play-by-play announcer Brian Davis used what the team is calling, quote, offensive and inappropriate words when he said that Russell Westbrook was out of his cotton-picking mind, was the phrase that was used. And he is being reprimanded for using that phrase and what they deem to be racist, going back to slavery days. The phrase out of his cotton-picking mind, which loosely basically means crazy, had its origins describing workers who would harvest cotton back in the South. I probably don't have to tell you guys that. I think we all know.
Yeah.
So is this just one of those other phrases that we need to be very mindful of in our society to make sure that doesn't slip out, because in today's society, cotton picking is just not something we should use.
Well, I think if you automatically refer cotton picking to African Americans, you're racist. You're racist. Because just to let you know, Johnny Cash grew up on a cotton farm. That's what he did when he was a kid. He picked cotton. Okay, he was white. So it has nothing to do with race. It's about just the job. And it was a term that came up then.
No, I get it, but I understand where that comes from. Is because the social view of cotton picking, of course, people think of slaves. That's what's shown to us in movies and in history books, so that's the first thing that pops into your mind. I get your point.
Especially outside the South. I mean, when you hear who was picking the cotton, to you, outside of the South, in your mind, it was all slaves that were picking the cotton.
Oh, yeah, because majority was, because that's the way it was. But there was people that had cotton fields that didn't pick their own cotton.
It's a fair point, but that, again, perception is reality, and that's what people perceive.
No. Perception is not reality in this situation. The reality is that when you turn around and say that is specifically towards African Americans, that is a racist statement. And that is identity politics. That's exactly what's going on. This is exactly what's happening in the NFL that's making people turn around and say...
You're saying that's racist by immediately associating color to cotton picking.
Yeah, because, don't you consider racism to be able to... What you're doing is you're taking a certain people and you're immediately saying that they are part of this group because of what their color, right?
But we do have natural associations, though.
That's what it is.
Well, no, I understand that. But if you're going to call using that word racist... It's because you are immediately going and saying that only African Americans picked cotton, which is not true.
But you do have immediate associations, and the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that, though, and that's just,
but that doesn't matter. That's not the reality. But this is going back to the perception is reality. It's not reality.
Yeah. Now, it's
perception.
Is it too much then connecting the dot between Russell Westbrook, who is black, to the cotton picking and all the things? Now,
if it was Nick Collison, would they be making a big deal about it?
Do you think that this announcer meant it to be?
No, of course not.
Yes. This is a guy who probably grew up. I don't know his background. I don't know if he's Southern, his Southern grandparents or parents.
He was watching Bugs Bunny.
Hey, just a cotton picking minute.
Maybe that's where I got it from. Could be.
Probably.
It's a word that's used. He didn't mean any derogatory way. He just said it.
We don't know his intent.
This isn't like Imus. Like when Imus.
Right.
That was bad.
Yeah,
that was
bad.
Racist.
Yeah.
So, blatantly racist. This is not. This is a slip of the tongue.
This seems like a flippant comment that he's had in his vernacular. Like there's so many comments that a lot of us have in our vernacular that we're learning year by year.
Yeah.
We're going through and we're plucking a lot of those out.
Of course we are. Yeah.
And
a couple years ago we wouldn't have done this.
And you're just thankful you're not Brian Davis.
Yeah. Well, he's not. I don't think he's going to get fired or suspended for this. But the team came out and said that they thought it was a very inappropriate comment.
Yes. And there's probably a lot of people today that are going, mental note, don't say cotton picking. Mental note, don't say cotton picking.
It wasn't in
my
vernacular anyways, but I guess I'll just strike it from the...
not unless you're a 55-year-old guy and you grew up watching Bugs Bunny.
Hey, just a cotton picking minute.
That's right. Sorry, Bugs. Coming up here in just a couple minutes, Dolphins cheerleaders getting a lawsuit.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Are they discriminating against one of their own?
Uh-oh.
Talk about the entire story coming up next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Hot show today, man. Oh, the controversy. Kaepernick, Rick's hot dogs.
That's right.
The hot dog delight. I want that recipe.
I really want to know what it is.
I'm curious, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm leaning on the side it's going to be disgusting. I don't know why.
Really?
I don't know.
Why do you automatically...
Listen, man.
It sounds like there's going to be something weird.
There's going to be mayonnaise on there, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
If I got the right ingredients, I'll make a hot dog delight.
Yeah, I don't come down on Coach Rick. He knows. Have him on again. We'll find out what the hot dog delight is.
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, and then when we tailgate at Canes games this year, we're serving up hot dog delights, baby.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We had the Dolphins cheerleaders in here this week, and they just absolutely squashed Diener.
Oh, so embarrassing.
Squashed Diener when it came to Dolphins memorabilia you could buy online.
Mm-hmm. And he also said that somebody was old to them.
Yeah, they got really offended when I said
I
Don
wonder
Shula was
why.
old. Well, I love Don Shula.
Don Shula's old. His tooth is probably falling out by now.
That was what it was when you said he's likely losing his teeth, like in a rapid rate. Like Don Shula's just walking around and teeth are falling out of his mouth. I think that's what kind of
some type of experiment. He grew up around radioactive something.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what got him.
I apologize.
Well, they were in here because Dolphins tryouts are tomorrow morning at the facility, but probably one of the things they're going to be talking about is this lawsuit that is coming from one of their former cheerleaders, Kristen Ann Ware. She's claiming that she was discriminated against when the organization found out that she was a virgin. Now, apparently there was girl talk that was going on, and they're talking about songs that they like to listen to while they're getting it on. And they were asking Kristen, and they said, okay.
She said Switchfoot?
Christian band, if you don't know, that's a good reference.
Just saying. Dare you to move.
Little jars of clay in there.
All right.
So she was like, I'm a virgin. I would not know. And that was her comment. But there were other things that she had done on blogs, online, and she noticed that as she was posting anything about her Christian faith, they would throw out just kind of a random reference to God, but anything else had been God-washed, basically. They were taking out specific references about her religion and trying to say, look, let's not push that agenda too much. And so that seems to be part of what is upsetting her in this whole discrimination lawsuit.
Yeah.
She also seems to note, too, that the NFL players themselves, Dolphins players, can outwardly show their religious beliefs and it's almost celebrated or they showcase them. But when a cheerleader tries to do it, it's like, no, don't do that. And in one instance, apparently whoever is the team coordinator for the Dolphins cheerleaders was like, don't talk about that. Here's a piece of fruit. Go out there and show your boobs and look hot. You know, and so there was special instances of things that happen in that nature. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I mean, there's part of me that just says, you're a cheerleader. You know what the outfits are. You know what's expected of it.
But she doesn't have an issue with that. She has an issue with the fact that she can't be open about being a Christian.
The one story that she had an issue with was she felt that, yes, it was, I think, a little objectifying. In the one instance where it was like, don't talk about your faith, hold this piece of fruit, stick your boobs out, give like a sexy, like, and I think what she said was the exact quote in the lawsuit, this is a great lawsuit, was handle that fruit like it's a pair of balls.
No.
Oh.
Yes. And so then there was like, you know, sexual talk thrown at her. She's like, I wouldn't know how to handle balls. That's not what I do.
It's uncomfortable.
Lord. That's and that's abuse.
And that's
that's understandable.
Part of what her story is.
I thought this was just vetted around the Christianity. I didn't realize that.
Goes a little bit to that. I think she felt like she was singled out, almost picked on when she said, hey, look, it's not something I believe in, not something I do. It'll be interesting to see how the whole thing plays out about how much you can't express your religious beliefs when it comes to whatever your job is. Because to a lot of people, any description of whatever your religious beliefs are is very polarizing. And again, this is almost like the whole Kaepernick thing in the sense we're talking about sometimes when you want to express yourself and your own personal beliefs, and it could come in the way of business. Some businesses have a problem if they feel like it's going to be damaging to their bottom line.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to be mad about somebody protesting one thing, you have to be mad about somebody, I don't know, trying to express themselves.
I don't know. I mean, it's
just the thing is that if you're going to discriminate, not discriminate, but if you're going to be that picky about this stuff, then you got to put it all around.
Now, there's some other lawsuits that are going around as well. In fact, the NFL's getting hit from a lot of different cheerleading squads.
Jeez.
Former Redskins cheerleader who said that the team sold an appearance where cheerleaders showed up at a residence to do nothing but hang out with men drinking beer and watching football.
Interesting.
How do you get that deal?
I was going to say, like, where do we sign up?
Yeah. It sounds great.
There's a New Orleans Saints cheerleader claiming in her suit that she was fired over an Instagram post. I think it's the one where she had like a bathing suit on. They said it was inappropriate. And there are also rumors that she had been at the same party as a player.
Well, that's a no-no.
Yes.
There's no strict no fraternizing rule.
Other pending litigation around the league cites that drunk fans sexually harass the cheerleaders. And they don't do enough to protect them from these drunk predators that are in the stands. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, but who knew that cheerleading could be so dang controversial?
They're fighting back, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, an interesting weekend. You got Heat playoffs. Goran Dragic is going to be back on Saturday night as the Heat go to Philadelphia. We'll, of course, hit that on Monday. And if you want to check out this show, you can always watch it on demand on YouTube, on podcast as well. Just search for it, Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.